This has set Xbox up from easy W. Release your handheld announcement anytime within the next year. It's going to be a huge W because what could they cap that? Like, they could probably sell that for $499 and nobody's going to bat an eye because they have this $700 thing that PlayStation just announced.
Eventually.
We need to talk about these alleged ROG Xbox Ally X prices because they're astronomical. Now, if you haven't heard yet, Dexterra was saying, according to leaks, the ROG Xbox Ally will be priced at $700, where the ROG Xbox Ally X is expected to retail for $1,050. Look, I was already saying maybe you should consider a PC instead of a PlayStation 5 Pro due to that slight price disparity. That would just put you right at that point where, you know, maybe you should consider a PC upgrade. I have a PlayStation 5 Pro. It is great. Understand why console users want to buy it. This thing just says, we just think you have all the money in the world.
Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and today we're going to go over your next dose of the Celty batch files. Yes, we're going to go over kind of what's been going on before all the turmoil of the now whirlwind and cyclone of what's been happening with the Xbox and Xbox community. So, you know what? Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I was saying, what we're going to do is get some great prime examples here. Before all the turmoil, like I said, in regards to the Xbox community, will there, won't they, kind of thing happen with their hardware ecosystem, Game Pass increasing, all that fun stuff. This is why they have to preemptively make themselves feel better about themselves. But let's start off with the first example here. Risk It for the busted can of biscuits, of course, preemptively trying to do some damage control here, right? In regards to KJN's portion down here, when he's just simply stating PlayStation in 2026 is going to be mega, right? Just a fan of PlayStation, has nothing to do with Xbox, but again, Xbox fanboys like Risk It feel attacked, feel threatened, and of course he says, hope so, hasn't been great so far, showing of course Concord, Foam Stars, which is not a first party game, Forspoken, not a first party game, also available on Xbox, Destruction All-Stars, which, you know, I feel like is the weakest link out of them all personally. And then, of course, making fun of Silent Hill there, that entry there. And then additionally, Quantum Error, which was not on Xbox, but acts like it's a first party. Lost Soul Aside, which a lot of people had fun with. And of course, the list goes on here a little bit with some games that a lot of people didn't even play in the first place. So again, to preemptively try to drown that out. Now, what if I was to tell you that he's holding back on a lot of good quality stuff here? Let me show you this example here where we have Astrobot at 94, God of War Ragnarok at 94, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at 92 that they've had to wait to play and still is not, at the time of this recording, on their system. Couldn't be me. Demon Souls remake, which was chef's kiss, phenomenal. Marvel Spider-Man 2, amazing. Anyways, we can keep going through every single one of these. As you can see, if it's not a first-party game that's actually spectacular and they have way more hits than misses, in addition to timed content as well, that is very good. So again, they want to not show that. I wonder why. I wonder why. Again, all for an instance where nothing was even stating anything about Xbox or saying that there's nothing on Xbox or stating that Xbox wouldn't have a good 2026 or whatever the case is, right? Super simple, but the salt is real, guys. The salt is real. As we go through, Clute here, of course, we'll have a little bit of a context here, but he's pissed off at Pete Hines, right? He's going through the motions, right, before this and even currently with all the turmoil, but Pete Hines has greenlit a game that turned out to be dog crap. Yet he's trying to retroactively blame Game Pass for his failed leadership. Couple laughing emojis. Make it make sense. And I don't know if he it's misspelling on purpose or not. Because the sense as in currency isn't really translating to me here. So I don't know if he doesn't know how to spell S-E-N-S-E. But here we are. Nonetheless, what is he talking about in addition to that? Pete Hines had everything right to say about that. It's just the truth. They don't like when folks are called out and are stating the truth. Look no further than what Hunter shares here in regards to Shannon Loftus, by the way. As a longtime first-party Xbox developer, I can attest that Pete Hines is correct. Doubling down on that, I also feel he's correct. Who don't are the fanboys that didn't think he was telling the truth, and look where that landed, right? I could and may someday write pages on the weird inner tensions Game Pass creates. I can only imagine, like I've said multiple times, if I was a fly on the wall in those meeting rooms, those boardrooms, etc., and I'm sitting back there and I'm listening to all the crap going on, there's got to be other people with some sort of lick of common sense, and they're going like, guys, this is not a great idea. I understand this is the Hail Mary. This is not a great idea. Shannon Loftus, former head of World's Edge, makers of Age of Empires, right? And just kind of quoting that. In addition to this, I do think that Nicola set this up perfectly, states this perfectly here. As you can see, he states Mike Ybarra, Peter Moore, Laura Fryer, Ed Fryer, or Freer if you say that right, Rafael Colantanio, Pete Hines, Shannon Loftus now written in. The list of insubordination gets longer. And of course he requotes the Klutz message there that we shared just previously, right? And it's true. Anybody that's insubordinate in a way, that is not assimilating themselves to the bot way, they're wrong. What they're stating is incorrect. It was their fault while things failed or things didn't go the way they should have. No accountability whatsoever. It's always victim mentality with these bot fanboys. And it's always blaming someone else. Always. Absolutely crazy to me. But let's get over to the catfish. It's been a minute since we featured Andrea Piccinini, aka Joseph Cruz, aka rebranded Extension here. WTF, not even Sea of Thieves, SOT, is stylized and cartoonish as that. And they're showing some frames, some screenshots of Ghost of Yotei. I don't know where they're getting the cartoonish stuff from. This is the farthest thing from it. They would know that if they actually got their hands on it, which you don't even have to in order to see. This is completely different, a completely different artistic direction in regards to Sea of Thieves versus a game like Ghost of Yotei. Like, do you see the capping going on? They believe their own bullcrap. Do you think they truly believe their own bullcrap? I'm just curious out there. Do they truly believe this bullshit? I just want to know, because it's just the preemptive. Like I said, they've done this to the brand, the irreparable damage they continue to do to the brand. I've said this multiple times, guys. I've said this multiple times. All they do is sit there and lie and delusion and falsify and misinform and just make stuff up. In addition to the already downward spiral that Xbox was in for quite some time, and where they've ended up just recently, they just continue to do it, and they've done it to themselves. And they're going to continue to do it well after Xbox may potentially just be an app, right? Or they eventually sell off their IPs or whatever ends up happening in the future, right? They did it to themselves here, but prime examples here. Now, I just want to share something here as well. Tim Dog, right? Listen, this isn't me making these comments. It's Shannon Loftus, Jens, Pete Hines. The pretending there isn't an issue. It's deafening to me when you have people saying this. If Game Pass is so perfect, explain Tango, the studio's closing, the game's canceled. And you know what? Tim's just a big Xbox fan, and that's fine. And he's just speaking his truth, and he's just trying to be as honest with the fans and everybody as he possibly can. I genuinely think he's a good guy. I think deep down, he just wants people to understand, and that's what he's done. For better or worse, he's came out and corrected things that he's ever said in the past. You gotta respect that. You gotta find that commendable. But lo and behold, another snake in the grass here. Cold Eastwood. Tango was a terrible decision to let them go, and fortunately no one bought that amazing Hi-Fi Rush, not even PlayStation fans. So now, guys, I was sitting on this post for a while, for a little while now. Now you have them again pointing fingers. They won't take the blame. They won't take accountability. All right? And I'm going to get to this in just a second, but why is this on PlayStation's hands or shoulders? because it later got ported over there because they had to. They're trying to make a buck. They're trying to get something going for the IP before they shipped it off. They knew well beforehand, before it was even being shipped or ported over to PlayStation, that they were getting rid of that company. They were cutting all ties. They knew deep down inside. All right? And it's unfortunate. It really is. But here we go. Like I said, just pointing the finger, acting like it's on the PlayStation fans' shoulders to hold up this game. As amazing as it possibly was, I don't know. I still haven't played it. Just haven't gotten around to it. The backlog is crazy, guys. That just shows how the competition is with that grade of games and the limited time that people have. But again, we want to push that Game Pass ordeal as well, that you should do that when you can't even get to the games you already can. And if you're an adult and you have a life and you have a family and you have a job and etc., you're supposed to get through an entire catalog and it makes sense and the value's there. That's what the talking heads want you to believe. But ultimately, circling back around, full of crap once again, pointing the finger, victim mentality. It's always somebody else's fault. And Colt, he recently, I'll have to try and find the video. He just recently, at least at the time of this recording, not long ago, just came out the video kind of apologizing for everything he's kind of said and alluded to, and tried to take accountability for convincing some users perhaps to get an Xbox and to go with the brand for this generation, even last generation. And trying to act like he had good intentions behind it. He's full of crap, always has been. If anybody takes that apology seriously, I got a bridge to sell you once again. Made of toothpicks this time. I tell you what, I do. Maybe some leaves on top of those toothpicks, I don't know. But ultimately, he's full of crap. He knew full well what he was doing. He was grifting then, he's grifting now. He will continue to grift and pivot whatever feeds his views and viewership and super chats and etc. That's what's going to happen. Don't let these snakes in the grass fool you. It's one thing to have them do one thing, turn around and do another. People make mistakes. People get things wrong. It happens. Totally understandable. When it's day after day or week after week at the very minimum, all right? And they continue and continue and continue for years and years. What does that tell you who they truly are and what's truly behind their intentions? They're misinforming all the time. You heard it here first, Fonz. Xbox might be slightly ahead. Stop it, dude. Every single video just about you're spewing out bull crap. I ain't buying that. If anybody else wants to buy it, you do you. I'm not an idiot like that, so whatever. As we move on here, guys. One last one to wrap this up here. Stallion at 83. Big Xbox dude. Lifetime Game Pass dude. Because he has, I think, the highest ever, if not one of the highest ever achievement scores out there in the Xbox ecosystem. Fantastic. Congrats to him. I think that's great. But he just recently wanted to taste over Xbox or PlayStation since he hasn't played on that for, I believe like 10, 20 years. It's been a while, right? I at least believe 10 years, but correct me in the comments down below if it's something different. But ultimately, he's just stating he's having fun. He's going through stuff, Spider-Man, Astrobot, etc. right at this time. Playing Astrobot for the first time, everyone says it's peak platforming. Let's find out if this PlayStation exclusive lives up to the GOTY hype, Game of the Year hype, right? Live now, he's streaming it, all that good stuff. John Williams, Xbox soon, I hope. Guys, can you imagine a game that is celebrating everything that PlayStation has been through since its inception from the PlayStation 1? It's celebrating that in every single level. It's not just a normal level like in the latest Donkey Kong Bonanza, right, or something like that, and you're just going through and there's maybe some Easter eggs or hints or something at stuff. No, this is a deliberate game that is celebrating anything and everything PlayStation. You also need to appreciate this game in its full capacity, which includes what? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a count of 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. What is it? The DualSense, right? The DualSense you need to feel the impact of every little movement, from the steps to the weapons to the abilities to the level design, from the wind, the sand, the water, everything in between. This game is absolutely amazing, and you do need a DualSense to bring it to that next level. The Xbox does not have a DualSense, and I don't think there's going to be a patent anytime soon where the DualSense is going to be working on an Xbox console. Yes, a hybrid, or you could get it set up with the PC. ROG Ally X, any other thing like that, for sure, maybe that could work at that point. But having it explicitly for the Xbox console itself, let's say a Series S or X, like, are we serious right now? Guys, just buy yourself a PlayStation 5, all right? Now, I'm going to wrap it up there real quick, but I do want to leave with one thought here. With everything that's been transpiring with Xbox, I do believe we do need competition. So it sucks, but it is what it is. And at the same time, in another hand, guys, I don't think they're necessarily going anywhere. They might give it another go. We'll have to wait and see. If something happens in the time of this recorded video and this coming out, then we'll have to take it from there. But at the time of this recording of the video, I don't have a lot of information to go on yet, one way or the other. That being said, we do need competition, but I don't feel like they've not been competition for a while, right? I don't think they've been competition for at least over a decade. I truly feel that way. I don't think anybody has really been threatened. The biggest threat was them getting ZeniMax, was them getting ABK, creating exclusives, creating a great ecosystem. That didn't happen. They couldn't have that happen. Subscribers weren't churning, etc. I'm not going to go over this again right now in this video. However, the point I'm trying to make is some of the comments that I'm seeing, let's say Xbox did go away, right? And somebody posed the question as to, hey, if Xbox went away, what would you do? Would you get a PlayStation or would you go to PC? Because the Switch 2, it's just a companion piece, right? For the most part. If you're going to have it, you're going to have it. You've probably never been a primary user of a console like Xbox or PlayStation or possibly even PC. You're a dedicated Nintendo user, that's fine. However, if you had a choice between PlayStation and PC and those Xbox people going out, a lot of them, you know what they're saying? They're saying they would probably just stop gaming altogether because they don't want to mess around with PC. And then the other end of that piece, they despise PlayStation so much. They prefer to console game. They don't feel like they're going to get that void filled with the Switch 2, right? So they despise PlayStation so much, they would just rather give up gaming rather than going to PC, rather than going to PlayStation, rather than trying their hand at the Switch 2, whatever the case is. They'd rather give up gaming and do something else because Xbox lost, and that's the only place they want to play. All I have to say to that, the only thing I have to say to that, is you were never a gamer, you're immature, you're childish, and all sorts of stuff I can create with more adjectives. But if you choose to give up gaming after you've been gaming probably since the age of 5 or earlier, and you're throwing a fit because your preferred brand continued to tailspin, you continued to believe the lies, you continued to not buy your games, you continued to not seek out the truth to see what you could do to help support the brand, to try and do something, your brand failed and lost. And if Xbox was to go the way of the dodo or just be an app, and there's no longer a dedicated hardware piece of console for the Xbox, you choose to give up gaming altogether. Again, immature, childish, and you were never a gamer. And what were you doing in the ecosystems anyways? Go find something else to do. That's all I have to say about that. Just kind of disappointing. That's my take on that. Is a little disappointing because if shoe was on the other foot, and again, Xbox was doing the good stuff, PlayStation kept faltering, I was in that position. Guess what I'm going to do? If I prefer console gaming, I would get me an Xbox. That simple, because I'm a gamer and I want to play games. And if I felt like I'm going to get more from the PC ecosystem, I'm going to go PC gaming because I like to play games. I've always been a gamer since day one, and I will continue to be a gamer as long as I possibly can. End rant. Wanted to share that with you because it just kind of grinded my gears a little bit seeing some of that recently, and I was like, you know what? Let's share that right now. But that being said, we will end the video here, guys. Every like, comment helps out the algorithm. I do appreciate that as well in the videos. Love to hear from you. Definitely let me know with all the thoughts I provided and all the examples I provided today, your thoughts and opinions on all the matter as well. Really appreciate that. Would love to hear from you. If you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself. We are getting our way towards the 4,000 sub goal, so thank you so much. Really appreciate your help. And of course, at the end of the day, just remember, don't be a salty batch. And we'll see y'all next time on the next Xvault Gaming video. And until then, take care.